Yes. What is up, everyone? What is up, everyone? How is everyone doing? Let me see. Slushy, Sluggy, love to see Crane. Rainson, of course. Caesar, love that. Atasam, oh my. Everyone is here. Love to see it. Finally caught you on live. Very good, thanks. Love that. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. How are you, my friend? How are you? Lucas, oh wow. Of course the South Africans are here. Of course, they're taking over. They're everywhere. Love it. I guess it is warmer in Colombia. Well, I do hope so. I hope so. Oh, love to hear it. Love it. Great to see you, Buster. Love that. I'm doing great, Nelly. Doing great. Thank you. How are you? Hello, ICT hater. Wow. ICT hater. That is a big word, my friend. I love ICT. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now. From India, God bless you. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you. South Africa in the building. Love it. Love to see it. Your videos are amazing. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. What's up, Mark? How are you doing? Sir? I'm doing great. Thank you. Is it great to see you with you first time? Is it great to see me with your first time? Is it your first time here, Ellen? Love that. Did you join the last ICT space? I did not join the last ICT space. No. What's up, Ario? How's the life? My life is pretty nice, actually. Pretty nice. Can't complain. What's up, Jamie? How you doing? My life is pretty nice. Can't complain. Pretty busy though, but again, can't complain about anything. How are you? How's your life, my friend? How is life for you? Locked and loaded. Love to hear it. Love that. First time from Nigeria. Love that. It's referred to you by Dave teaches student. Love that. That's pretty interesting. By Dave teaches student. I like that. Well, welcome, my friend. Welcome, Alan. Love to see it. What's up? I'm A from Nigeria. I love your teachings. What's up, A? How are you doing? Welcome. Lots of content here is gold. Thanks for that. Well, thank you. Thank you for the support, my friend. I can only thank you. I'm just doing my thing. Thank you. I did not know we had so many South Africans here. Yeah, it's crazy, to be honest. There's a lot of South Africans here. There's a lot. What's up, Noel? How are you doing? Greetings from Germany. Love to see it. The neighbors. Love it. I don't hear you well. Can you all hear me well? Let me know. Otherwise, I might have to do something. Let me know if everyone can hear me all right before we start the forecast. All the way from the Middle East. Wow. From London. Of course, love to hear it. Great hearing. Yes, definitely. Sound is okay. All right, perfect. Hey, Fabio, how are you doing, sir? Love that. Love to see you here, Fabio. I saw your email, by the way, and I will go over it. Must be very interesting. MF, of course. What is up? Love this, man. Love this. Let's make some money. Well, hopefully we'll make some money. Hopefully we can make some money this week. Let's see if we can. So let's actually start with the weekly forecast right now. You have a very good voice. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you. Thank you. So let's start with the weekly forecast right here. And the first thing that I want to go over is the dollar. Now let's actually clean it up a little bit, like I always do on the forecast. Let's clean it up. Let's start off with a fresh mind right here. So if we start off with a fresh mind, then we can see we have this monthly fair value gap sitting right there on the dollar, which we expected prices to come into and potentially continue higher off of. Now, again, like you probably saw in the arguments video as well, when we come into that monthly fair value gap, it's not necessarily that I am expecting 100% certain higher prices. It's me still being very aware of the fact, all right, we might continue higher, we might continue lower. It's keeping the expectations low. And the thing, I know everyone is eager to get into the forecast. I have to tell you this, is when you lay that expectation on yourself, when you have a fair value gap or something, and you're saying, I want to see higher prices off of that. Again, you also hear me sometimes say that, but in the back of my mind, I still have, we might not go higher off of that. So keep that in mind as well, right? Because if you have that expectation of we are going to go higher off of that, then you're sort of forcing the market to do something, which usually doesn't play out well. So again, here it is important to understand as well that if we move on to the weekly, we have not created a weekly Verwijgap lower. Hey, nice to see. Love to see it, of course. On the daily as well. On the daily, we have had a nice move higher. Now, the only thing that I can see as a potential bearish argument right now, if we use that video as a sort of correlation, you could say, then we have the overall ST created right there. Now, off of that ST, which is that bullish Verwijgap right there, then we do not create a new bullish Verwijgap just yet on the daily time frame. So in the beginning of the week, I already know that with CPI coming up on Tuesday, so Tuesday is CPI. Monday and Tuesday, I'm likely going to stay out of the US dollar. My main action will be on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for the US dollar, most likely. Now, for the crosses, I will get involved potentially Monday and Tuesday. But for US dollar, I want to take it a little bit easy. And if I want to get involved on the US dollar, then ideally I would want to see a new move higher. Just to sort of get that feeling again. All right, yes, it does indeed want to move higher. Again, get that extra argument in the market. Where currently we have that bearish argument right there. Hey, we are not creating a new bullish Verwijgap. All right, let's counter that bearish argument with a new bullish argument with, hey, we are now creating higher prices again. So we have bullish intention again. All right, perfect. That is what we would want to see ideally. So if we can get that, would be absolutely lovely. Then a very easy target for this week is that Verwijgap. Now, if we reach that target and we want to continue higher, then of course I am also expecting higher prices where we could potentially even push towards that high right there. Potentially even, it's a very volatile week, even that high, but keep your expectations low. In that case, we might not have a super volatile week, and that is extremely volatile if you reach that high right there. So overall, still bullish, but want to see a nice discount rate to trade off of. Then right here on ES, on the indices in general, we are still seeing higher prices. And this is what we mentioned in Wednesday, which was meant to be the Tuesday live stream, and the Sunday live stream as well, where the indices in general, it has some sort of characteristic that every now and then, I would say every quarter, not every quarter, maybe a little bit longer, every 6 months, something along those lines. It's just not correlated with the dollar anymore, and it just does the opposite of, what it's meant to do. Of course, when the dollar is moving higher, indices are meant to move lower. This does not always happen. And sometimes you have the characteristic where the indices are just so extremely strong that it does ignores everything that dollar is doing at that moment in time. So right here, we have that high right there, which we could sweep to continue lower. Overall, I would not bet money on that, meaning that I would not want to get involved in that move lower right there. If anything, I might want to look at longs right there. So overall, I'm still pretty interested in longs on the indices, ES, NASDAQ, and YM, where NASDAQ right here, if it's volatile enough, it could even reach that monthly context high right there. Meaning that we just have, if we stack up the arguments again, we just have this monthly context right there following through higher. Weekly Verwijgaps higher created. Daily is extremely bullish as well. So overall, there's no real reason to start to look for shorts right now, unless we get something as minimum on the daily time frame right there to then continue lower. That could be quite nice overall, but right now I would say let's look for some more longs, especially NASDAQ right here with that clear monthly context. Could be quite nice. YM inside the monthly Verwijgap right there. Not monthly, weekly Verwijgap right there. Could it continue lower off of that? Definitely could. Is there currently an argument to make that it could continue lower off of that? Definitely not. So overall, it's still waiting. And if anything, I would still want to look at higher prices until that bullish intention is broken with a counter argument, which would then be the bearish argument. So right here, if we can get DAX as well to continue higher to potentially new highs in the form of that high right there. On a weekly, we are creating a weekly Verwijgap as well. Now, overall, you hear me say currently that I'm not really interested in the weekly Verwijgaps depending on where the indices have closed. For example, if we take a look at Nasdaq right here, we have this candle. That candle is pretty big. So with that candle being pretty big, is the chance that we will trade into that weekly fair value gap right there to then go higher very high? Is that super high probability? In my opinion, not really. If we come into that weekly fair value gap, of course, then still, I would still be bullish. But overall, I would not really expect a move into that weekly fair value gap. Whereas YM right there, if we look at this candle, this has more chance to come into the weekly fair value gap. Why is that? Because this weekly candle right there, simply said, is just smaller. So it is more preparation. There's more preparation going on to trade into that weekly fair value gap to then continue higher overall. So then ES as well, same thing right there. And that is the same thing what we saw on the dollar, right? Where the monthly right there, if the monthly was somewhere like all the way up there, and this was the candle, the most recent one, would you then expect a move into the monthly fair value gap to then continue higher? No. But since it's that small right there, then it's very realistic to then come into it to then continue higher. So that is as well the way I view it right there. So here on DAX, we could come into the weekly fair value gap, but overall, I do think that we might already expand higher. Is there a clear discount around the daily? Not really. So overall, again, don't really like DAX. And DAX has not been super nice, although it had some nice price action around this time right there. Overall, still bullish, I would argue. So now we come to the good stuff. This is the nice stuff right here. So let's look at it. So we came into the monthly fair value gap on Australian dollar, US dollar. And ever since we came into the monthly fair value gap, I've been pretty excited about trading Australian dollar, US dollar as well. So if we want to continue lower right now, then we can, of course, just follow through on the context, which makes it so easy. All you would have to do right now is, all right, where do we have no reason to return back to? Now, on Australian dollar, US dollar, that question is a little bit more difficult. And I can understand that because we also have this fair value gap right there. Now, this fair value gap right there is under no circumstances something I would want to trade off of. And that is also something we'll go over in hopefully one of the future videos. Because that fair value gap right there is way too big of a retracement to make to then continue lower. Doesn't make any sense right there. Now, overall, I would like to use this fair value gap. If CPI is very and extremely volatile and we do come into this higher fair value gap, then I would only want a quick sting into it to then continue lower. But overall, I would want to continue the bearish intention right now immediately. That is my most important thing. Now, the funny thing is, if we do follow through on this daily fair value gap right there eventually, and it might take a while because we do have CPI coming up as well, so we might see some messy price action before that, and then we follow through. Then after we follow through and we create, for example, 4-hour fair value gaps lower or a new daily fair value gap lower off of that. That is quite interesting. Why is that? Because then once we overcome this order block right there, we have no resistance anymore. So this area below this low right there, this area is what? It's your silver bullet area. There is where your highest probability price action will happen and where we will run very fast. So that could be quite nice as well. Then EU right here is the strongest pair. And that's also the reason why I would not want to, or why I didn't trade EU. And the reason for that is mainly because EU was the strongest one. Overall, this doesn't even have a lot of bearish arguments right now if we do compare this to GU and AU. So overall, I would say, all right, let's try to stay out and let's wait for some more price action right here. If it wants to continue lower, then let's try to wait for a daily fair value gap lower to actually confirm that ID, because EU right here is quite strong and doesn't really show any signs that it wants to continue lower right now. Also doesn't really show signs that it wants to continue higher right now. So overall right there, it's pretty 50-50 where you can take short-term longs and short-term shorts as well. But I would prefer to trade GU and AU overall. And the reason for that is because GU right here, of course, if the dollar wants to continue higher, then GU right here just wants to continue lower as well. EU might want to continue lower, but it will do it very slow and not the nicest price action. So GU right here is where we did have this daily fair value gap. We had a sting into it. And this is, again, the same situation. Where why did I trade GU over AU? If we look at this candle, how this Wednesday candle closed. So that is that candle that I'm aiming at right there. And if we look at that candle, then GU is having a pretty high close. What is AU doing? Look at AU, that Wednesday candle. The candle close is way lower. So in that moment, would you expect, or if you stack up the arguments, would you more so expect AU to come into that daily fair value gap to then continue lower? Or would you rather expect GU to do that? Of course, GU. Why is that? Because it's just a little bit higher right there. More ease to come into the daily fair value gap to then continue lower. So right here, we also have this nice new daily fair value gap. It's a very small daily fair value gap, which I do not like. Again, overall, we need to understand that currently, these are high probability conditions, but the highest probability conditions happen after CPI on Tuesday. So once we have CPI on Tuesday and we've created some nice new fair value gaps going lower as well, especially on the dollar, which is quite important, then we have the highest probability conditions. So if I was you, if I was in your footsteps, or if I was in your shoes, then what I would do is I would wait in the beginning of the week to then get involved later on in the week to show me exactly what it wants to do. So have some patience to then capitalize on the moves later on in the week. That is very important. So right here we have New Zealand dollar, US dollar as well. Came off of this daily fair value gap, targeting that daily fair value gap right there. Same exact thing. If we now want to continue lower, we can continue lower of that daily fair value gap. It's a very small daily fair value gap though. So a very small daily fair value gap is usually not really what I like to see. As in, I don't really like to go into the 15-minute right there to look for my entry pattern. Overall, I would like to have potentially 4-hour fair value gap lower or a daily fair value gap lower as well right there, which could be quite interesting. But overall, I would still prefer GU or AU right here. USD Canadian dollar. So if we look at USD Canadian dollar, then we can see that we have created this daily fair value gap higher as well. Now, again, same scenario as on the dollar itself. We have not created. Let me remove some noise right here. It's very noisy. Overall, we can also see that we have not created a new daily fair value gap higher. So here I would again want to be a little bit more careful, and I would want to wait for a new discount rate to be created. New discount rate meaning that we just have a new fair value gap higher as well, with an order block, with a breaker block, whatever it is, as long as we have new fair value gaps higher. When in doubt, just wait for a new fair value gap. That's a very easy general rule of thumb that I use. So USD CHF right here, we mentioned the 50-50 price action, and the reason for that was because on the weekly, we had this weekly fair value gap, that weekly fair value gap, then on the daily, we had this daily fair value gap right there, and this daily fair value gap. Now, with the dollar overall being potentially bullish, this daily fair value gap, you would not expect it to hold. But again, since it's so 50-50, premium arrays and discount arrays are getting both respected. That's not where you want to get involved. So right here, what you want to do is, again, when in doubt, you wait for a new fair value gap higher right there, just to create, again, that extra argument. Once you have those extra arguments, that is exactly when the highest probability price action is. So right here, if you want to wait for that 4-hour fair value gap higher to then potentially get involved right there. That's very important. USD/JPY, this price action has been very weird overall this week. As in, if you look at the 4-hour, look how weird this sort of staircase price action is right here. I don't quite like it. It is volatile, as in it's moving higher. Is it doing it fast? Not really. So it's quite odd price action. Now still, the drawn liquidity is still pretty clear, right? We've had that drawn liquidity for a very long time. So overall, if we can now use, again, a daily discount array or a 4-hour discount array to then push higher, that's perfectly fine right there. That is, again, quite nice. Then on silver, so this is potentially quite nice because now we had this weekly fair value gap sitting right there. So that weekly fair value gap is currently, daily fair value gaps are holding inside that weekly fair value gap, as in it's pushing lower. A new daily fair value gap lower to then get involved off of that daily fair value gap is extremely high probability price action in my eyes. So that is exactly what I would like to see. If we can get that, could be very nice. Then we finally have some price action following through on silver as well. Then on gold, same exact scenario where we have the weekly fair value gap. Now, if we want to reach for this lower weekly fair value gap, then right here, if we create this new daily fair value gap that is disrespecting this weekly fair value gap, then that daily fair value gap to continue lower could be very nice with overall target this weekly fair value gap for this week. Could be quite nice. On Bitcoin, what are we seeing? We finally have a daily fair value gap higher. Now, overall, the daily fair value gap is not very convincing, but the monthly fair value gap as well is not really pushing price lower. So could we head towards the next premium array on Bitcoin? That is my question. Would require some volatility right there, but could potentially be quite nice as well. Let's see what we want to do above this high right there. Let's see how we close above that high in the next 10 hours right there. Based on that, I would say, all right, we can potentially follow through on this daily fair value gap. Overall, I do not really like the intention right here, so we might still see something like this to then continue higher as well. Crude oil. All right, so let's remove all this noise as well. So on the monthly time frame, let's go over this. On the monthly time frame, we had this monthly fair value gap that is sitting right there. Did not get respected. Then we had this breaker right there on the monthly. Did not get respected. Then we had this monthly fair value gap sitting there as well. Is this getting respected? Well, we already had 3 discount arrays. That is 3 opportunities to potentially move higher, which price just did not do at that moment in time. So if we move on to the weekly, then we still have that weekly bearish intention, well, potentially in the making as well next week. So overall, here on the daily, if we want to push lower and disrespect this monthly fair value gap again, then we can definitely do that by this daily fair value gap right there. Targeting, first target, that low right there, which is also quite of a nice fake bottom right there on the daily time frame. So if we want to continue lower, I would definitely want to see lower prices off of this daily fair value gap. Now, if we disrespect this daily fair value gap, then again, I want to take a step back overall and say, all right, I might be wrong on my bias. I might be wrong with the whole idea. So I want to definitely take a step back. All right, Nifty right here. Nifty, we mentioned that the weekly fair value gap right there, we are disrespecting that most likely. So that is exactly what we're seeing right now. Now, currently, if we use this handy tool that we have, then we are seeing a weekly fair value gap being created as well, right there, which we could come into to then continue higher. On a daily time frame, we are also seeing, again, new swing low. So we have potentially a new daily fair value gap higher there as well on Monday being created. So this overall could be quite nice to continue higher with the next target being this high and next target being, of course, that monthly context high that we are having right there as well. That could be quite nice on Nifty. All right, so if you have any pairs that you want me to look at, if you have any instruments that you want me to look at, of course, then please do let me know. Please. Let me know. Let me see. From Hong Kong, Ben. Wow. Love to see it. What time is it in Hong Kong? What time is it? Joining live from Qatar. Love to see it. Which part of the A to Z guide should we focus on if we want to continue with the private mentorship? Yeah, I have a list for that actually. I have a list. If you, Big Andre, if you want the list for that, then please do send me an email at info@ario.io. I'll try to answer as quickly as possible. I'm currently very busy. At the end of the week, I am moving abroad. So after this week, hopefully we get some. Hopefully I get some more time as well. But if you want that list, then please do let me know. Let me see. Canadian dollar CHF. Let's see. Canadian dollar CHF. I also see Euro GBP. Let's see. All right, let's start with some context. What are we doing on Canadian dollar CHF? So the monthly was very weird price action right here. I remember this, where we had this low price action. We did not take out this high, but we did have a very aggressive move lower. So overall, on the weekly, if we want to continue lower, then this weekly Verwijt gap is likely where we will continue lower from. First instance, we did not really respect it right there with that first candle. So that is also when I took a step back where I was like, it's pretty odd. And then right here on the daily time frame, we do have this daily Verwijt gap lower. So if we want to continue lower, I would want to see lower prices off of that daily Verwijt gap right there, which in this case, let me actually check the economic calendar to give you a better indication. We have CHF news on Tuesday, Canadian dollar bank holiday on a Monday. So overall, I would go for a Tuesday. And then for the rest, we don't really have news for Canadian dollar CHF. So it would be Tuesday, pretty much all or nothing on Tuesday. Where on Tuesday, if we get a 4-hour Verwijt gap lower, we already got that right there, then that could be quite nice to get involved lower as well. Overall, since it lacks that news, I would not really want to get involved this week. So Euro GBP, let's see. Euro GBP, yes, we got higher prices right here off the weekly Verwijt gap actually, which I did not expect coming into last week. But of course, right now we can adjust that bias as well. So here on the weekly, we are continuing higher off this weekly Verwijt gap right there. Previous week low sweep as well. On the daily, we are having daily Verwijt gaps higher potentially right now. So depending on what Monday wants to do, if Monday wants to create a daily Verwijt gap higher, that could be very nice to then continue higher off of that as well. Overall, but overall the price action on Euro GBP has not been spectacular and has not been super clean. So small moves could be nice as well, but yeah, if that makes sense. Let me see. The OG, wow. How can I correctly identify the OG? It's wherever the context is. So for example, the weekly right here, this weekly right there, that weekly Verwijt gap is where we will likely continue higher off of if we do want to continue higher. So then the context, going over the context, is this high, right? It's the intermediate term high, the context high, however you want to call it. So this right there is the OG. That whole part is the OG, but the most important part is just this high. So you don't need to mark the whole thing, just that high is the most important part for it. So you answered my BTC questions without me having to ask. Love that. Love that. Euro JPY. Let's see. Euro JPY. Has it been moving? Yes, it's finally been moving actually, Euro JPY. I had a long consolidation right here. It's quite interesting because now it's finally moving. So here on the weekly, we have this weekly Verwijt gap right there, which we do have to take into account. Now overall, like we mentioned in the beginning as well, this week is very far, or the weekly candle is very high to then come into it next week to then continue higher. It's not something I would expect. So on the daily right here, if we want to continue higher, then we have this daily Verwijt gap right there, which we can continue higher off of. In the 4-hour, you can create or you can trade this Monday candle, potentially, if we have new supporting ID, which we don't. So in this case, I would wait for, we actually don't have new supporting at all in the week currently for Euro JPY. So that leads me to the same point where if I don't have new supporting ID, I just don't trade it. We have new supporting ID on Friday only. So the lack of volatility will be a problem right there. But overall, that Monday candle on the 4-hour, if it wants to get created, not really a nice discount rate. We'll want to see it follow through, create that daily Verwijt gap of that daily Verwijt gap, which is not created just yet, potentially after Monday. That could be nice for higher prices. Only thing I don't like on Euro JPY, and don't like that in general, when you have to scroll all the way to 2008 to see the price action, which I don't really like. But again, overall, just probably higher prices. Goedemiddag, Maas. Love that. Good afternoon, my friend. Good afternoon. Let me see. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. Let me see. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. What are we doing on a monthly basis? On a monthly basis, let me delete everything again. We could head towards this high, but we've been consolidating on the monthly. It's not really nice to see. Not really respecting this. Overall, on the weekly, what are we doing? Weekly had a big move higher as well. Weekly for ViGap right there. Very 50-50 price action right here. Let's see what it wants to do on the daily time frame. On the daily, not really. 4 hour, very difficult price action right here. Not nice at all. If anything, I would want to see the weekly for ViGap right there get traded into to then potentially continue higher right there. But I would be very careful because overall, we've not been following through on for ViGaps as well for New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. So I would be very careful right here with whatever I want to do. There are higher probability pairs out there for sure. For sure. What do you think about Australian dollar, US dollar news on Monday? Would you trade it on Monday even though CPI? Yeah, that's a great question. And yes, you could trade that for sure. The only thing is again that you want to keep in mind CPI on Tuesday. So meaning with if price shows early signs of not following through, shows weird signs of potentially consolidating. So identifying those low probability conditions as early as possible. That is when you want to either get out of the trade, go break even, or not take the trade at all. If you are taking a trade, then what you would want to do is take a trade. That's fine, but get out quick. So keep that in mind as well. So if price is not moving very fast towards your target and it's almost approaching the end of the day, etc., then I would just want to get out and just close the trade overall. Let me see. Let me see what is going on. What is going on? Let me see. GBP CHF is the worst price movement. Let me take a look. My friend. What is that about? GBP CHF on a monthly. Whoa, that's indeed very ugly. On the weekly, we are coming into that order block. We had an aggressive move lower off of that. We have a bullish ViGap as well on the weekly. Let's see on the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, we create a bearish ST overall. All right. So the next move, in my opinion, would be, all right, we can trade into that weekly for ViGap right there. Depending on how we reject there, or if we reject at all, if we create a new daily for ViGap lower, coming below that weekly ViGap, then the next target for me would be these lows right there overall. That makes sense. Which kill zone is the best for Australian dollar, US dollar? I would say you can trade any kill zone, as in you can trade even the Asia session for Australian dollar, US dollar, just depending on if we are coming into a premium rate, etc., whatever it is. So what you also want to do with Australian dollar, US dollar is look at Australian dollar news, because very often it's during Asia session. So then Asia session is very nice to trade actually. Do you have any videos you can recommend that you made on Flawed and Lot? The video you made on it in your A-to-Z guide is great, but I'm interested in expanding my knowledge more. Yeah, I think that's definitely something I can work on as well, as in a new video on that, incorporating the other concepts as well. I have some old videos. The A-to-Z guide is probably the most recent one or the best one. Do I have one of the recent ones? I'm not sure actually. Not sure. I think the A-to-Z guide would be your best one. What do you think weekly GBP JPY for ViGap? Let me see. GBP JPY weekly for ViGap. Yeah, this has been quite nice actually. The GBP JPY overall. As in, on the monthly, we are likely expanding higher. And we finally got some movement actually, which is quite nice. On the weekly, yeah, this is quite nice. We have a weekly for ViGap sitting there as well, which we could potentially trade into right there to then continue higher. And on the daily time frame, yeah, this is quite nice. This is really nice actually. It's really nice to then continue higher right there. It's quite nice. What microphone are you using? What is it called? The HyperX something. HyperX Solo Cast, I believe. Is it HyperX? Yeah, HyperX Solo Cast. What would be your recommendation of order to study ICT? I would say, depending on if you want to solo or only study ICT, then I would say Core Content and 2022 Mentorship. after that, the core content and 2022 mentorship, they go pretty hand in hand. After that, of course, you can watch my content, but your question is more so regarding ICT, from what I understand. So in that sense, that's all you need, core content and the 2022 mentorship. Monday, no news. No trading? Yes, for me, that's no trading, indeed. Indeed. I'm so obsessed with your knowledge. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Damai. Thank you. Hopefully I pronounce your name correct. Thank you. I like to day trade or say scalping, but weekly and monthly and daily vergab is important too, or just 4 hour, 1 hour is enough for scalping. Yeah, the monthly and daily vergab is important as well. And it's more so with scalping. Of course, in the video, I said very simply with, if you want to trade the 1 minute, then you also have to take into account the monthly. Yes, that is true, but you're not always looking at the monthly time frame, but it makes context a lot easier. For example, if you're doing a lot of work on the 4 hour, etc., then it might be a little bit difficult to navigate sometimes. Where here on the dollar, if you just knew about this monthly vergab, and you only have to check the monthly even once a month, and that takes 5 minutes to see if we create a monthly vergab, etc., then every price action or all the price action here on the 1 hour, so trading towards it right there, this failing to create a new vergab higher, then coming back down, then all this price action is so easy to navigate because you understand there's a monthly vergab right there. Then as well, taking a short in here is not something you would take. So because we're in the monthly discount rate, so then you don't get blindsided right there. And then this long, for example, right there is very easy to take because again, you understand the monthly context as well. So it gives you so much more clarity, so much more context to work with, which makes it very easy. And when you do want to scalp or day trade, especially scalping, day trading is negotiable. And you can negotiate it, as in you can make an argument for both parts. But scalping, I would always say focus on limited pairs. So only focus on maybe one. If you can master one of them, perfect. That's extremely beneficial. Then if you focus on maybe 2 or 3, can also be doable. More than that, I would say, wow, it's not really beneficial anymore. Did you catch any trades this week? Yes, I caught 2 trades this week actually on GU. So I'll walk you through my thought process right here. Where on GU, I was looking at this daily vergab, and there was something I did not mention in the daily bias video actually, which was this. On the daily vergab right there, I was expecting lower prices. Now on the 1 hour, I first off took this trade right there. If you're in the money making team again, then the full even live breakdown as well is right there. Then I took a 1 to 2, which I closed at this moment right there because it was the end of the week. Was not expecting any lower price as well. So I was like, all right, let me close it there. Perfectly fine. Took around 1.5, I remember, RR. And then my second trade was in the highs right there on the 1 hour. Was all based on the 1 hour execution. So it was around that. And the thing here is the reason why I executed this and why I expected this retracement was because very easy. If we look at the dollar and we compare this to the dollar, then I was just expecting higher prices off of this daily vergab, which throughout the whole day, we did not come into yet. So once I saw this fake bottom, beautiful fake bottom, absolutely textbook, and then we had this move lower, I was not like, all right, this is not good. It doesn't want to continue higher anymore. I was like, yes, this is perfect. Let me get another position in right there to get involved in this daily vergab, which is on GU, the 1 hour ST right there. So that is where I wanted to get involved, and that played out quite nicely. And the reason why you saw me execute on 1 hour as well is because I didn't have a lot of time this week. As in, I'm quite busy with some other things. So I was like, all right, let me execute on the 1 hour. Makes it a little bit easier. And the reason as well why I mentioned that in the daily bias video is because a lot of people think the lower you go on time frames, the more profit you'll make. Whilst on the 1 hour right there, I probably made quite some more profit than someone who was trying to actively trade the 1 minute right there, which is quite funny. What is ST? ST stands for, what is it? Sharp turn. Almost forgot it myself. No, ST stands for sharp turn. Hi from Costa Rica. Quick question. How can I join your mentorship? Or you can go to a link that is below on the screen or send me an email at info@ario.io and I'll send you the information, my friend. And let me see. ICT will be back. He'll be back. Don't worry. I don't believe he retired. No way. I think he'll be back. And respect to the man. He's been teaching for, for a very long time. So he probably deserves some time off as well. But he'll be back. He by the way, ICT always does, he always takes a break, no? With Christmas. So wouldn't surprise me if he just comes back in 2024. Wouldn't surprise me. ICT is like a displacement. Yes, the full what is it? The full thought process is in my mentorship actually, but it's basically displacement. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't worry, E-man. He'll be back. He'll be back. No worries. No worries. Let's see. Question one. Hello, Ariel. Much love to you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. When one daily value gap is fully penetrated by one daily candle, but the next one daily candle is energetic and goes the first one, should we treat that the same as a one candle wick penetration and fair value gap is strong, or as a fair value gap being disrespected is a weak one, or maybe short-term high in the middle? Great question. And this is something we go in depth on in the mentorship. And I'll use Euro GBP as an example. And the reason for that is because we have the weekly fair value gap. Now, of course, your question is for daily fair value gap, but it's the same exact thing. Where we have this weekly fair value gap right there. Now, coming into that right there, you could say, yes, that is likely disrespecting it. And I would agree with you. The only thing is that sometimes when we come into a fair value gap very late, so very late during the candle creation, that can be a Friday for a weekly candle, can be the last week for a monthly candle, can be a London close session and Asia session for your daily candle, can be on the 4-hour candle for the last 1 hour, for example. So right here, we came into that weekly fair value gap on Friday right there, which means that the low close inside that weekly fair value gap is not that crazy. So then the next thing you would potentially expect if it does want to go higher is a previous, a previous week low sweep to then continue higher. That's the same thing you would expect for the daily. So if I can show you a daily example as well, which if you still have that energetic wick, and that is why it's when we come into a fair value gap and we seem to disrespect it, that's not the end all be all. And that's always what I'm trying to tell in the mentorship as well. Just because from a mechanical standpoint right there, yes, we are disrespecting it. That's not always true. As in, yes, we can still continue lower, obviously. So right here, let's actually find a good example. Do we have a good example? Let's see. Do we have a nice example? I think there was an example, but I can't remember which one it was. I can't find it. If you have an example, then please let me know. But I hope that makes sense. Need to leave. Thank you so much and keep it going. My motto, stick to the higher time frame and you'll have enough. Exactly, Fabio. Thank you for being here. See you on the next one. Thank you. Fair value gap is pierced several times or body of a candle closes deep in a fair value gap. Should we avoid then entering a market even if ST entry models being created after that? Thanks for your answer. Yeah, so that's the same scenario where I need to find the example. There was an example. There was an example. Let me go over the crosses list because I found an example actually. We talked about it this week, this exact week. It was GBP JPY. Yeah. So let's say right there on that candle, we pierced through it, etc. Then if we came into that daily value gap very late during the day, which also happened on that candle, then what you would do is you would not necessarily enter on that day. You would use the previous day low to then go for looking for your ST again. So you always need that new boundary again to go into the low time frame. When you have just that daily value gap and the first ST on your entry time frame fails, then what you do is you step back until we have a new boundary, for example, the previous day low, etc. So that is very important, if that makes sense. That's those questions are great, and those are actually, what is it? Those are actually what I need to make a separate video on. Like that requires a pretty in-depth explanation. Yeah, love that, Jamie. Love that. Love that. It's very clean. Yeah. Love that. Love that. Do you think on GU there can be a bull run into the daily fair value gap, sweeping Wednesday high? Yeah, the Wednesday high. Let me see. If it sweeps, let's say it comes into this high right there, and we do get some quote unquote bull run right there, then the thing I would want to see is actually higher price overall, because I would not want to see price come all the way back right there to then continue lower. And I would want to see higher price if that does happen. So I currently, if I am expecting lower price, I would not want to see that. If it does happen, I would then say, all right, yeah, perfect. I would want to see higher prices. Let me see. What do you use for recording your screen? I use OBS. OBS, so that's OBS. Yeah, OBS, this one. It's free. It's free. Let me see. I saw another question. Probably gonna come back during the Robins Cup, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure, Anthony. For sure. Let me see. I saw a question that I wanted to answer, but where is it? It was about where I traded on. I trade on, oh yeah, do you trade on MT or a futures trading platform? I trade MetaTrader. So even my CFDs, which the indices, the futures, I use TradingView futures as in ES, NASDAQ, etc. But I trade CFDs, so on MetaTrader itself. I am looking at futures as well to sort of, once I have the time actually to do that, I want to learn more about futures, because it's, of course, if you actually want to trade futures, I would advise to just actually go for futures, unless you're already used to CFDs and Forex. What do you think about the inverse fair value gap? To me, it seems like a faster entry. Yeah, the inverse fair value gap, I personally don't use it. And the reason why I don't use it is because, first of all, usually when we have an inverse fair value gap, there's already just a normal fair value gap next to it, which doesn't make sense. And other than that, the inverse fair value gap as well is more so, feels a lot random to me, because if you keep on using inverse fair value gaps, then there's always a reason to enter a trade. There's always a reason to make up a trade ID. So the more PD raise you use, the more susceptible you are going to be to taking a shitty trade, because you always will have a reason to enter a trade ID, because you have unlimited PD raise on your chart. That makes sense. So that is why I like to limit to only the highest probability, which then I would remove the inverse fair value gap, if that makes sense. How do you place fast entries on MetaTrader 4 and 5? I use magic keys. So that is magic keys. I'm not affiliated or anything with them, so feel free to check them out. Magic keys. Which platform do you suggest for your trading style? Overall, just definitely one with no time limit, and that's just because it's like, what is it? Takes a lot of stress of you, and you don't feel forced to take a trade as well. And so FTMO, Tradu, Funded Engineer is probably a nice one as well. Mostly sticking to the known ones. I'm taking my first challenge, so would appreciate if you can let me know on MetaTrader 5. Should I use the highest spread number it flashes, because spreads keep going up and down? Yeah. If it keeps going up and down, then use the highest one. Yeah, use the highest one. Yes. And just to be certain, because it's a shame if you get tagged out of a trade and then it hits take profit. Like, that's just a pain in the ass. That just hurts. It's not nice. So yeah, I would say just use the highest one. No worries, Marina. Better late than never, right? Better late than never. Are you going to join the Robin Cup, Ario? I'm not going to join the Robins Cup myself. Probably not, no. No. Probably not. Could be nice, but I don't know. I feel like it's more so. How do you say that? It's a pissing contest or a pissing contest or something. It's like people challenging themselves, like who is the best and who has the biggest ego and stuff. It's like, all right, I have other things to do. Let me see. Do you only rely on technical analysis or do you also read fundamental analysis? Well, by reading technical analysis, it's like you also read fundamental analysis, which is quite funny because whatever the fundamental analysis will do, usually it already plays out and we can already see it through our technical analysis. So one is irrelevant in that case. And that is what I meant with my tweet as well today, where you don't need to pay attention to one or the other. So then I would say either pick one, pick fundamental or technical analysis. And in my case, it's technical analysis because it's better. What's your strike rate now, brother? What is it? Well, it's actually gone up after the last time I sent my data. What was it last time I sent my data? 77%. 77%. So this week or past few months, it's probably gone up to 80% around that. Quite nice, quite nice. Non-major pairs have wide spread. Do you trade such trades? How you manage such a wide spread? Yeah, it really depends on if there's one in the crosses right there that is really bad spread before I'm entering, then I just don't enter overall. But other than that, usually it's quite manageable for me. Thanks to your teaching, I'm funded now. Love that, Salim. Love that. Love to hear that. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Love that. That's all you. That's all your credit, my friend. It's all you. 80%. That's a big one for 1 to 2 average R. Yeah, it's quite nice. It's quite nice, of course. Of course, it's quite nice. But yeah, there's a lot of work as well going into it. A lot of work going into it. Let me see. Let me see. Here, let's say you are in a daily CB expecting lower prices. What makes you decide whether you enter from the second ST on the 15-minute or wait for a 1 hour backup to then go into the 1 minute for the entry? Yeah, that comes down to mainly know your entry time frame before you go into the daily CB, for example. So I already know before I go into the daily CB what my trading plan is. Because I can understand, Martijn, that that confusion comes from not choosing your poison. And what I mean by that is picking your poison. Sometimes the 15-minute ST will play out. Sometimes the 1 hour ST with the 1 minute will play out right there. So it's picking your poison right there. Which one do you prefer? Which one do you have the time for? Which one are you more comfortable with? And sticking to that one. So that is usually what I do. Over time, you can potentially say, and there's, again, when I say over time, I mean like maybe 1 year of profitability. You can say, all right, I can be more flexible and more hybrid with my entries. I could potentially go into the 1 hour right now when I feel like it, because you've already shown that profitability. That is very important. But overall, I would say choose one. Choose one right now and then stick to it. So if you're, well, I can say if you want to scalp more and you want to focus more on one pair, then I would say go into the 1 hour for backup to then go into the 1 minute for the entry. You forgot my name before the question. Sorry, Nathan. Sorry, my friend. Sorry, Nathan. Sorry. How much percentage did you make in October? What was it? 6%. And did I take any trades before that as well? Let me actually check. I think it was around 6-8%. Let me check really quick. No, it was more, I believe. I believe I made above 10%. Yeah, I made above 10%. Yeah, 10+%, something like that. October was a pretty nice week for me, actually. Missing video on flow plan. Oof. Yeah, that's true. That's true. We're going into that, into the flow trading plan as well, very in depth on what is it? Next enrollment, Mark, for sure. But I can make a new video on as well. How many trades overall? That was 3, 4, 5, around 5 trades, 5 to 6 trades, 5 to 6 trades. I was 8% up on my funded, and now I'm down to 0.3%. Revenge trading, yeah, revenge trading is a silent killer. It is a silent killer. That's crazy. That's crazy. But again, lower your risk or take it easy, and you can make that back easily. You've already done it. Like, you've already done 8% on a funded, so you already almost proven yourself actually that you can get funded. But the funny thing about that is I was compared to, with trading, you almost need to be perfect in every manner. As in, you can get funded or you can make 8% right there, and then the market or your fund account will just say, all right, let's put you back to break even first, because you've not overcome that revenge trading just yet. And then after you overcome that, then you can get funded. And then the funded accounts, once you achieve a couple of funded accounts, it becomes very easy almost. And I don't want to sound like arrogant or anything, but it's what I noticed as well in students and stuff. Once you pass one funded account, then after the ball starts rolling and it becomes a lot easier. How much is your risk? Depends, really depends. Depends on the account, depends on the setup, depends on the day, depends on quite a lot. But usually around 0.5%, 1%, or 2%. Can you please explain a redelivery rebalance? I don't use it personally, so I also don't really feel the need to explain it. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, my friend. But that's, again, yeah, it leads me back to the same thing every time, where if you ask me about a certain PD ray, then yes, I can explain it. I know what it is, but there's a reason why I don't use it. And the reason why I don't use it is because truly, I've been through every PD ray, I've been through every concept, I've done it all before. And it's not that I hate on it. It's not that I saw the comment in the beginning as well with ICT hater. I'm not an ICT hater. I love ICT. As in, if it wasn't for ICT, I wouldn't be here. So I'm grateful for ICT. I just think that some certain things can be done better. And some certain things are just not set, which can be done better, which can be taught better, potentially. And overall, I think a lot of ICT concepts come down to the same thing, where you're overloaded with a lot of things which you don't necessarily need. And it's the same with redelivery rebalance. Usually you don't need it. As in, it's another PD ray that just adds confusion, just adds another boundary to mess up potentially, another boundary to potentially take a trade, which is not always beneficial. Again, if you are profitable with it, then ignore my words. Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you. Here you go for fake tops again. That might be a great idea. Might be a great idea for sure. Can you show an example of when you would use 2% risk? Yeah, for sure, Paul. And actually funny, because the risk I used on GU was 1.5%. It wasn't 2%. It was 1.5%. And it was also on 2 different accounts. So overall, when I take one setup, I don't want to overexpose myself to the market. As in, I don't want to have 5 trades running on the same exact setup. That's not ideal, of course. But right here, this was extremely high probability for me. And I could make no argument for the bullish side. So when I only have bearish arguments, it's a very high probability. We have news during the day. All the boxes are checked off. Then in that moment, that is super high probability for me. And then I would decide, all right, let me add on to this position, or let me use a little bit higher initial risk as well. What is your big loss, or you have any loss? Well, yes, I had a quite big loss, and that was it September, I believe. I had quite a big loss, and it was 12K monetary value. So 12K US dollar on one single trade, which was a pain in the ass because I used the wrong risk, which was not good. But yeah. And it's funny as well, right? Because I show you, what is it? In the video, I show you 3K winner, 4K winner, and the 12K winner I showed to my mentorship as well. Like, sometimes you don't see that, right? 12K, that hurts. Hurts. It's not nice at all. It is what it is. Definitely, it is what it is. What can we do? It happened, so we move on. Love that, Anthony. Love that. I'll reach out to you as well in Discord, Anthony, after this stream. Please mark up. I've been thinking about that, Imran. Please mark your future allocation with time frame. It's difficult for me when you we switch time frames and I get confused what marking you mentioned belongs to what time frame. Yeah, I understand that completely, and I've been thinking about that as well. Might be a great idea to have someone in the top right just quickly 1 hour text that fades away, right? So we know on which time frame we are. It's a great suggestion, my friend. Great suggestion. Why is my question getting ignored? Is it? Let me see, Builder. My bad, brother. My bad. Yeah, when I do, sometimes I just miss a question. So it's sometimes the chat is a little bit chaotic. My mind goes everywhere. So yeah, it's nothing against you, my friend. I just miss it sometimes. Let me see. Where was your question? Let me see. On EU, I was trying to short the 4-hour backup on Friday, but price was slow and gave a lot of loss. Can you check and see why? Yes. So this leads to the thing that I was talking about in the beginning, actually, which is if we compare EU and GU, then we can clearly see, and this is the first reason already why I would not take shorts off of GU and or off of EU, and instead I wanted to trade GU. It's very simply said. It's because EU right here didn't even create that daily backup lower, or did it a very small one, an extremely small daily backup. All right, I take back my words. It created the daily backup lower, but a very small one. So right here, if we compare this to GU, then we can clearly see. Look at the intention, the difference in intention, and that just tells us GU right there is weaker. So I would get involved in GU right there because it's clearly weaker than EU. So overall, that is why I also wanted to avoid EU overall, because it was just the strongest pair. So for shorts is not super ideal, if that makes sense. You can use it that's also a good idea, actually, Limitless. It's also a good idea that they use the indicator, yeah. For the what is it? For the time frames, yeah. I'm on the wait list for the masterclass. I can't wait to get started. Now I'm reviewing the A to Z guide after months studying all the ICT comps. Love that, Valentino. Love that. Love that. Great stuff. Great stuff. Can't wait. Can't wait to see everyone in the masterclass on the 24th. Love that. Is quarterly theory the holy grail of IC trading? Well, I've certainly seen a new spike in the new quarterly theory holy grail shiny object syndrome. All the shiny object syndromes are tingling again in everyone's minds, where it's like, ooh, quarterly theory, ooh. It's, yeah, I've certainly seen that. I don't think it's anything special like any other holy grail, quote unquote. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny because I get quite a few questions as well on it, which, yeah, tells me quite a lot. Tells me quite a lot. I saw one question actually, which I wanted to go over. It was all the way in the beginning, and I forgot to answer it, and this reminded me of it. There was someone asking how they can get the perfect time, as in with no drawdown. How he wanted or she wanted to enter without any drawdown. My friend, if you want that that is exactly the wrong mindset to go into trading. That's just, again, we can potentially manage that, but you will not manage that on a consistent basis. Absolutely not. So it's yeah. Sometimes questions, they tell a lot about where someone is in their trading adventure. Is quarterly theory just AMD with complex explanation? Well, if I understand the quarterly theory from ICT himself, which I've also heard about some other, but I only understand because I've studied myself the quarterly theory a couple of years ago about ICT himself, and it's just that every quarter the prices might change, or they might do the opposite of what they were doing overall in the 3 months. And we had a very clever man coming into the chat as actually last week, which was Don, I believe, Don Ragnar. And he said, quarterly theory, if you move higher on 3 candles in a monthly, what does that create? A fair value gap. So 1, 2, 3. Then obviously this candle will be a down candle. Why is that? Because there's a fair value gap. Does it have to do anything with the quarterly theory? You could say so. As in, I'm not the creator of anything. I'm not sure. But all I know is that those 2 concepts can be molded into one concept, which makes it a lot easier. So, yeah, that's what I think of it. Did you leave a comment under ICT last tweet? I did not. No. I did not. If you do essential, can you get half of masterclass later on? Yes, the initial fee you pay for the essential gets deducted off the masterclass initial fee, limitless. How long do you forward test a day to become profitable? Well, as long as you have the time. As in, if you just have the time to forward test, depends on your strategy as well. Of course, when your trading plan is in alignment with the market, as in it is presenting, etc., then just go for it. As in, go for it as long as you want to. And then understand that if you're live trading, you want to limit that chart time again. So that is very important. Yeah, could also be very true, Joseph. I think quarterly theory of power 3 amplify could be very true. Could be very true. How long do you often hold your trades? It depends, really depends on the situation. Usually, on average, I would say it's maybe 2 or 3 hours. That's it. Visit helped me a lot. Got funded on 2 accounts and secured payout plus refund too. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, Ariel. All in the span of 11 months. So thank you so much. Your A to Z guide is insane. Wow, that is insane. And that is all credits to you, my friend. That is nothing to do with me. That is all credits for you. All credits to you, my friend. That is insane. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Love that. Love that. Thank you for sharing that, my friend. Thank you. That is insane. Wow. Wow. How does the second month of essential class work, like the feedback month? Yeah, it's where we once we get feedback, limitless, in the essential or just in general in the masterclass as well, then you can give me feedback on what you feel like has been touched on too much, or you feel like it's missing, you miss a certain topic, etc. That would allow you to actually, or even a topic itself that has been touched on but is just not super clear, then send me an email and we can go over that in the new month. If that makes sense. Can you show any order you win last week? For sure, my friend. I can show you a few orders. Which orders would you like to see, my friend? Let me check. This was one of them right here. This was the one that I mentioned on GU right there. This was the one I closed a little bit earlier, actually. This was the one I closed right there. The 1.5 RR. Right there. And then the other one, which was less risk, was this one. Right there. Less risk, I say that, whilst the lot size is higher, but the contract size is different. So it makes sense, believe me. And what is it as well? The stop loss is different. Let me see. Exactly, Dinesh. Love that. Exactly. My candlestick colors are, there's a short on my channel, or if you go to my Instagram, there's a pinned one. And that is my chart colors where I go over it. Or in my Telegram even. So there's a couple of options. Or in my Telegram, you can click the pinned messages and you'll get to my chart colors as well. Masterclass is worth every penny. You get a lot of bang for your buck, as the saying goes. Love that, MF. Love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Love that. Oh, love that. You will be blessed greatly, man. Despite having a private mentorship, you still see it fit to have a great content on YouTube. Love that, Joseph. Yes, for sure. For sure, for sure. And yeah, it's like it wouldn't make sense to me if I don't know. I just like giving value for free as well. So yeah. Mentorship page is not open. Why is it not open? Let me check, my friend. What happened? What happened? It's open right now. Is it in? It works. It works for sure. Let me check. Let me check. Ooh, it's a great question actually, Mark Mavericks. Can you go back to GU during October and tell us which daily fair value gap you thought would hold and which would not, and the reason behind your analysis? It's a great question. So if we look at GU and we just quickly go over the daily fair value gaps that were created in October. Let's see. Let me mark October, the end of October, the beginning of November. And yes, I have one right here. And at this moment in time, we had this daily fair value gap lower. So this daily fair value gap lower. Now, I did not expect this one to hold, and the reason for that is because the 4-hour move higher right there was very aggressive into it, almost came right there, and we had a potential weekly fair value gap that was above it right there, above that high. So this daily fair value gap was not a high probability, and this daily fair value gap for me was the one below it right there. So that one was the one I expected to hold. After that, we had this daily fair value gap. I did not expect this one to hold, and the reason for that is again because we had coming off of a weekly fair value gap right there. After that, I expected this one to hold right there, and that one pushed lower eventually. And then after that, I expected lower price off of this one potentially, but I did take into account at that moment in time, we are creating a monthly fair value gap above all this price action right here. So this one was also lower probability in my eyes, which I'm saying this right now, but of course you can also go through through all the old forecasts and even the YouTube videos itself, which are not necessarily the forecast. I just go over price action and I say which one is lower probability, which one is higher probability. So yeah, for sure. GU is in perfect state for short. What if you take a short in Asia session? If yes, what if London session hunts Asia high? It's a great question. And in that moment in time, I would personally wait for London. If you do, or if you need to trade, let's put it that way, if you need to trade Asia, then an ST or just lower prices off of any fair value gap of the daily fair value gap right there, which already shows the ST right there on the 15-minute time frame, on the 1-hour time frame, then again, that is all you need. Then London will likely respect whatever Asia did. Why did London or Asia get swept right here by London? Because Asia, very simply said, did not come into the daily fair value gap. So whichever session comes into the daily fair value gap is the one that will be holding. That's as easy as it is. And that's also why you don't need the characteristic of Asia will get swept, London will hold, this, that. Can be useful, but usually it's not backed by data. And usually it's just the case and just a matter of which session comes into the daily fair value gap or the higher time frame fair value gap or the PD ray. That is the session that will hold. That makes sense. Hey, Limitless, my guy. Thank you, thank you. Really appreciate it, my man. Thank you, thank you. Not necessary, of course. Not necessary. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. How often live streams in Essentials? Currently, live streams are not for the Essentials, so it's only Masterclass right now. What's up, Naresh? How are you doing? My guy, my guy. Masterclass changed my life, and I love the flow train for Ario and the God mode, guys. Love that, my friend. Love that. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. What's up, Sean? How are you doing? Man, I love seeing Sean. I love that. I love that. Your knowledge and kindness are truly impressive. Thank you for your time. Would you mind taking a look at the matter I emailed you yesterday concerning my subscription? 100% Salim, 100%, 100%. I believe I just missed it, so I haven't gone over it just yet. But for sure, you will get an answer, 100%. 100%, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words as well. Thank you. Ario, when are you going to list the people qualified for masterclass? Well, they're closing pretty soon, actually, already, because we have quite a few enlistments. And you will get a notification privately on if you're enrolled or not. Wow, Klaus Schwab himself. No way. I came here to say that your book recommendation on Transurfing by Vadim Zeeland is insanely good. Art of Controlling Reality Using Our Freedom of Choice. Love it. First book for my new Kindle. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank Vadim Zeeland. Because I'm currently reading it again. And I'll give you a quick insight. It's like when I am reading that exact book, no matter if there's another great book, if I'm reading that exact book, it's so funny because then I perform at my best. I get the best things happen to me. It's crazy. It's really crazy, honestly. And yeah, whenever I read that book, so I've read it almost 3 times right now. I'm doing it for the 3rd time right now. The best things happen to me, which is insane. Thank you, Imran. Thank you. You had the 0, my man. I already answered it, my friend. I'll answer it again, the 0. So my candlestick colors, not sure if you have your sound on or not, but my candlestick colors are on my YouTube in the short section, or better way is to go to my Instagram. I have a pinned on my Instagram page, or in my Telegram. You can go to my Telegram, my free Telegram, of course, and there the pinned messages, if you click on them, then you also get to them. If that makes sense, hopefully. Let me see. What is your perfect entry time from an entry criteria? I love the daily Verweij gaps, and daily Verweij gap, 15-minute ST plus re. Yeah, that's perfect. And full entry criteria, I would say it's the market make model video where you have 2 high probability lags. That's my entry criteria. Yes, I did already go over EU, my friend. Yes, at the beginning. Yes. Are you moving to Dubai? No, I'm not planning to move to Dubai. To Dubai. No. For sure, Anthony. For sure. All right, then I'm going to end it right now. Thank you, everyone. For being here. And of course, take care. Trade safe, very important. Take care and love you all. Thank you for being here. And I'll see everyone at the next one on Tuesday, of course. I'll be there, 11 a.m. New York local time. I'll be there. And let's smash it this week, all right? Let's go, team. And I thank you. Have a great one. Thank you, everyone. And I will get to an email. Don't worry, I will get to it. Please, give me some time. All right, perfect. Thank you, everyone. See you at the next one.